In Tinderbox, The Untold Story of the Upstairs Lounge Fire and the Rise of Gay Liberation, esteemed journalist Robert W. Fieseler delves into a significant yet often overlooked event in the history of the LGBTQ community and its profound impact on the emerging gay rights movement. The book sheds light on the devastating fire that occurred in 1973, when an arsonist targeted a gay bar in the New Orleans French Quarter, claiming the lives of 31 men and 1 woman. Until the Pulse massacre in 2016, this tragedy stood as the largest mass murder of LGBT individuals. However, as Fieseler astutely observes, the suffering did not cease with the extinguishing of the flames. The families of the victims, the city of New Orleans, the Catholic Church, and the world at large virtually ignored the horrific incident. In 2019, Tinderbox was honored with the Edgar Award for Best Fact Crime, solidifying its significance as a work of exceptional investigative journalism. The book begins by providing a comprehensive list of all those involved in the upstairs lounge fire and its aftermath. From the patrons present on that fateful night to the business owners, journalists, and individuals residing in the vibrant French Quarter, from local leaders to the grieving family members of the deceased, this extensive dramatis personae highlights the immense scale of the tragedy and its enduring impact on the affected community and the nation as a whole. Within the preface, Fieseler draws attention to the striking parallels between the Pulse massacre and the upstairs lounge fire, both pivotal events that targeted the LGBTQ community solely because of their sexual orientation. Yet, he also examines the contrasting responses to these two mass killings, particularly in terms of public reaction. While the Pulse massacre was memorialized with vigils and national recognition, the upstairs lounge fire was deliberately forgotten, silenced by a society unprepared to confront the truth. Subsequently, an introduction follows, wherein Fieseler contemplates the essence of remembrance, particularly in the context of evolving public attitudes toward LGBTQ issues. Through meticulous research and compelling storytelling, Tinderbox illuminates a chapter of history that demands acknowledgement and remembrance, highlighting the struggles faced by the LGBTQ community and underscoring the significance of recognizing and embracing their stories in the ongoing fight for equality and justice. In his exploration of the LGBT movement and its significant milestones, such as the Stonewall riots, the visibility of queer celebrities, the impact of the AIDS crisis, the removal of homosexuality as a mental illness, and the achievement of marriage equality, the author acknowledges that these pivotal moments unfolded after the upstairs lounge fire. At the time of this tragic event, which took place in 1973, LGBTQ individuals remained marginalized, and their struggles were largely disregarded. However, there are dedicated individuals endeavoring to ensure that the story of the fire reaches a broader audience. Among them is a Louisiana minister who aims to ensure that the fire victims are remembered alongside their counterparts from Stonewall, the AIDS Memorial Quilt, and the Supreme Court steps. The initial section of the book delves into the events of June 24, 1973, the day of the fire. Fieseler provides profiles of the diverse group of individuals who frequented the bar, mostly living closeted lives and primarily working in blue-collar jobs. Among them were members of the Metropolitan Community Church, one of the nation's earliest affirming congregations for the LGBTQ community, as well as participants from that weekend's Gay Pride celebration in New Orleans. Pianist David Gray was performing at the upstairs lounge when, around 8 o'clock in the evening, an inferno erupted, fueled by the acrid odor of lighter fluid. While approximately 20 people managed to escape, the remaining patrons were tragically locked inside the engulfed building. Attempts were made to flee, but the windows were barred, rendering escape nearly impossible. One individual, engulfed in flames, struggled to squeeze through the bars, but tragically could not fully escape. An enduring image of his charred body hanging from the side of the building would become one of the few widely disseminated photographs following the incident. The sole suspect identified during the subsequent arson investigation was a local hustler named Roger Dale Nunez. Through his comprehensive examination of this little-known tragedy, Fieseler sheds light on the lives affected by the upstairs lounge fire, emphasizing their stories alongside other crucial moments in the struggle for LGBTQ rights. By elevating their voices, the author ensures that their experiences and sacrifices receive the recognition they deserve in the ongoing pursuit of justice and equality. In a glaring miscarriage of justice and a blatant dereliction of duty, Nunez, Despite a history of petty crime, mental illness, witness testimonies placing him at the scene of the fire, and his own confessions to multiple individuals, was never formally charged or arrested. Tragically, Núñez took his own life the year following the fire, and the arson case was closed by the state in 1980. The aftermath of the upstairs lounge fire, described in the second part of the book, intensified the catastrophe as the victims and survivors were met with further neglect and mistreatment. The city of New Orleans disregarded the needs of the survivors, the Catholic Church refused to grant the deceased Christian burial rites, and even some families, burdened by the shame of having an LGBT relative, failed to claim the bodies of their loved ones. However, there were those who adamantly opposed the swift cover-up of the upstairs lounge fire. The third part of Tinderbox highlights the efforts of the local LGBT community, as various individuals and organizations tirelessly worked to ensure that the fire would not be forgotten, that the lives lost would not be in vain, and that the survivors would be treated with dignity. While their endeavors were largely disregarded in 1973, the activists' work undeniably shed light on the brutal discrimination endured by gay Americans, contributing to a gradual change in attitudes towards the LGBT community and ultimately fostering greater acceptance. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.